The 24th of November, 1955. At Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, a small aircraft carrying the registration PHNIV lifted away from the runway for the very first time. Its flight lasted only 34 minutes. There were no headlines announcing the beginning of a new aviation era, no crowds celebrating a technological revolution. At that moment, the world was looking somewhere else. The future belonged to jets. Boeing and Douglas were racing to build faster, larger aircraft that would shrink oceans and connect continents. Against those giants, a small Dutch turboprop designed for short regional routes looked almost outdated before it even began. But history sometimes remembers the loudest machines, not always the ones that quietly change everything. That forgotten flight became the beginning of a two-year production journey. The Fokker F27 Friendship would eventually see 586 aircraft built, fly across 6 continents, and earn something far more difficult than attention: the trust of the pilots who depended on it. Because the F-27 was not created to impress the world. It was created to solve a problem everyone else was ignoring. By the early 1950s, commercial aviation stood at a turning point. The war was over. Economies were rebuilding, and airlines around the world were preparing for a new generation of aircraft. But beneath the excitement surrounding jet technology, thousands of smaller routes faced a very different reality. They were still depending on an aircraft designed before the war. The Douglas DC-3, more than 10,000 DC-3 and military C-47 variants had been produced, and after World War II, large numbers entered civilian service at extremely low prices. For airlines, especially smaller regional operators, the decision was simple. The DC-3 was available. It was proven. It worked. But reliability did not mean the aircraft was ready for the future. It was slower, louder, unpressurized, and powered by piston engines from a different generation. Passengers were beginning to expect smoother flights, greater comfort, and airlines needed aircraft that could operate economically without completely abandoning their existing regional networks. This was the problem Fokker recognized. While larger manufacturers were focused on speed and prestige, chasing the coming jet age, Fokker asked a much simpler question. What did the airlines flying DC-3s actually need? Instead of designing an aircraft around ambition, Fokker designed one around reality. The company contacted DC-3 operators directly and studied their requirements. They did not need a miniature jet. They needed something practical, an aircraft capable of using smaller airports, flying shorter routes efficiently, carrying enough passengers to make money, and reducing the maintenance burden created by older piston technology. The challenge was enormous. A new aircraft had to be modern enough to replace the DC-3, but affordable enough that operators would actually buy it. It needed better performance without sacrificing the rugged dependability that made the DC-3 legendary. Many companies tried to replace the DC-3. Most failed because they misunderstood why airlines loved it. They focused on building something more advanced. Fokker focused on building something more useful. And that difference would shape every engineering decision that turned the F-27 Friendship from a quiet Dutch project into one of the most respected regional aircraft ever created. The Fokker F-27 Friendship did not become respected because it looked revolutionary. It became respected because almost every part of its design had a purpose. From the outside, it was a simple twin-engine turboprop aircraft, but underneath that simplicity was a series of engineering choices designed around one mission, making regional flying more reliable. The first major decision was the high-wing configuration. This was not chosen for appearance. A high-mounted wing created better lift characteristics, improved performance from shorter runways, and allowed the fuselage to sit closer to the ground. For regional airlines operating from smaller airports, this mattered. Passengers could board more easily. Cargo handling became simpler. Airports did not need expensive new infrastructure just to support the aircraft. Then came the engines. Instead of using traditional piston engines like the aircraft it was replacing, Fokker selected 2 Rolls-Royce Dart turboprops. The Dart engine had already proven itself on the Vickers Viscount, and it offered exactly what regional operators needed: smoother operation, lower vibration, better reliability, and improved efficiency. For passengers, the difference was comfort. For pilots, it was confidence. A flight over mountains, remote regions, or difficult terrain required an aircraft that behaved predictably every single day. The original F-27 design carried 28 passengers, but early testing revealed a slight tail-heavy characteristic. Instead of accepting the compromise, engineers extended the fuselage by approximately 0.9 meters, improving balance and allowing later versions to carry 32 passengers. Even the aircraft structure showed Fokker's obsession with efficiency. The company used a metal bonding process known as redux, a technique that reduced weight, improved aerodynamic smoothness, and increased fatigue resistance compared with traditional construction methods. These details were almost invisible to passengers. There was no dramatic shape, no futuristic appearance, no attempt to compete with the glamour of jet aircraft, but every engineering choice created a result operators could measure. Lower maintenance demands, better economics, longer service life. The F-27 was not designed to be the fastest aircraft in the sky. It was designed to be the aircraft that kept flying when airlines needed it most. By the way, if you're into stories like this, subscribing takes 2 seconds, and there's a lot more coming. When the first production Fokker F27 entered service with Aer Lingus in 1958, success did not arrive immediately. The aviation world was already fascinated by jet aircraft. Speed had become the symbol of progress, and a turboprop design for regional flights seemed like it belonged to the past. But airlines do not survive on excitement. They survive on economics. And this was where the F-27 began to prove itself. Operators quickly discovered that the Friendship was not just a replacement for the DC-3. It changed what regional aircraft could deliver. It flew faster. It carried passengers in greater comfort. It reduced the vibration and maintenance challenges that came with older piston engines. More importantly, it could perform these improvements without forcing airlines to abandon the smaller airports and difficult routes that connected isolated communities. By 1960, the reputation of the F-27 was spreading through the industry. Not through massive advertising campaigns, through the people who worked with it every day. Pilots respected the way it handled. Engineers respected the way it was built. Airlines respected the numbers it produced after thousands of flights. Soon, operators around the world began choosing the aircraft. Braathens Safe in Norway used it across demanding northern routes. Trans-Australia Airlines brought it into Australian domestic service, where reliability across vast distances was essential. New Zealand National Airways Corporation operated a large F-27 fleet for decades, proving how valuable the aircraft could be in challenging regional environments. The Friendship also crossed into a market few expected: America. Through a licensing agreement with Fairchild, the aircraft entered production in the United States. The American-built version first flew from Hagerstown, Maryland in 1958, featuring modifications such as a longer nose for weather radar and increased fuel capacity. West Coast Airlines introduced the Fairchild F-27 into service that same year, allowing a European design to compete directly in the country that created the DC-3. But perhaps the greatest proof of the F-27's design was not where it flew. It was how many different jobs it could perform: passenger aircraft, cargo transport, military troop carrier, maritime patrol platform, special mission aircraft. Few aircraft can move between such different roles without exposing weaknesses in their original design. The F-27 could, because it had been engineered from the beginning around durability rather than image. It never became the aircraft people photographed because it looked futuristic. It became the aircraft crews remembered because it never stopped doing its job. By the early 1980s, aviation had changed again. The same aircraft that once represented the future of regional flying was now facing a new generation of technology. Airlines wanted quieter cabins, lower fuel consumption, modern avionics, and improved efficiency. The qualities that made the F-27 exceptional in the 1950s were no longer enough to keep it ahead forever. Even great designs have limits. Fokker understood this. Instead of endlessly modifying the original aircraft, the company developed its successor, the Fokker 50. It carried the foundation of the Friendship forward but introduced new Pratt & Whitney Canada engines, updated cockpit systems, and improvements designed for a new era of regional aviation. The final Fokker-built F-27 left the production line in 1987. After 32 years, one of the most successful European turboprops ever built quietly ended its manufacturing journey. But unlike aircraft that disappear because they failed, the F-27 faded because aviation finally caught up with the problem it had solved decades earlier. Many continued flying long after production stopped. Some remained in commercial operation into the 21st century, while others found new lives in cargo service, military operations, and specialized missions around the world. The Friendship never achieved the cultural fame of the Boeing 707. It never represented luxury, speed, or the dream of crossing oceans in the jet age, but that was never its purpose. The F-27 represented something different. It proved that progress in aviation was not only measured by flying higher or faster. Sometimes progress meant creating an aircraft perfectly matched to the people who depended on it. For many pilots, what they remembered was not nostalgia for an old machine. It was the rare feeling of flying an aircraft where every control, every response, and every design choice made sense. The F-27 did not demand attention from history. It simply earned respect from everyone who understood what it achieved. If this story was worth your time, hit like and subscribe, and drop what you think in the comments.